Okay, so we've spent the last 3 hours discussing and talking about all of the different places that we can plug in. Oh, we can't see me. I did try and show myself. I'm not being shy. Okay, strange. Don't know why. So we spent the last 3 hours talking about all of the different places that we can plug into Labview, into the IDE. And in this next tool that I'm going to demonstrate, I think I've plugged into all of them, including the one that Darren said you shouldn't go there. There be dragons. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I've been bad. So those of you who don't know me, my name's Chris Roebuck. You can't see me because my camera's not working for some reason, so that's me on a cake. I kind of look like that. My hair's a bit bigger at the minute. I'm desperately in need of a haircut, but
I actually do see you, Chris.
you do. Oh, okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I better be careful.
Probably the other ones, yeah.
But anyway, that picture's better than reality right now. There's definite lockdown hair going on right now. Okay, so we're going to talk about bookmarks, my new favorite thing in Labview. And during lockdown, I was inspired to do a little recreational programming to see if we could make bookmarks a little bit more accessible and extend how we can use them. So I'm going to make a little assumption that maybe not all of you are familiar with bookmarks. I hope you are. I certainly do hope you are. But if not, we're going to do a little brief introduction first. The first thing we're going to start with is a free text label. Hopefully you are all familiar with free text labels because we use them for commenting our code, our block diagrams. And we all comment our block diagrams, don't we? Question mark. Of course we do. So we use free text labels for comments, and they can also be anchored to block diagram objects as shown on the right hand side with that for loop. So they can be attached, and as we move those block diagram objects, the arrow gets longer and it stretches and it goes everywhere so that we can still see the comment and the block diagram object that it is referring to. And even better, they can contain URLs. So this is great where we've got maybe a data sheet, or we're programming some digital device with our Labview code, and we want to be able to point back to the data sheet or the programming reference so that people supporting our code in future can actually just click on that link and bang, it opens in our default browser. So free text labels, really useful. And they can contain bookmarks even, not blockmarks, bookmarks. So what is a bookmark? Well, there's an example. The bookmark is shown in the bolded text, and it starts with a hashtag. So if we add a free text label and we type a hashtag, then everything after that hashtag up until the next white space is classed as a bookmark. So we can see, and Labview recognizes that and shows it in bold. So that's an example of a bookmark. And our free text labels can contain multiple bookmarks. So these can be really useful documenting code, leaving messages for other developers, etc. The other nice thing about bookmarks is that they are searchable. So I'm actually going to drop out of PowerPoint for a second and let's have a look at Labview. So we've got a little Labview project here with a couple of VIs open. And I'm going to go ahead and not use the auto wire, the auto tool selection, just to get the chat window all riled up. And I'm going to go ahead and add a bookmark. So this is so there we go. If I could spell, there we go. There's our first bookmark. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now, from the project window or from anywhere, we can say View, Bookmark Manager, and we can see that bookmark. And the really nice thing is, if I go ahead and close that VI, the really nice thing is, if I double click on this, it takes me to the bookmark. So these are a really nice way, especially if you're working as part of a team, for leaving a little breadcrumb trail through your code. So other developers can find little notes saying, come and finish this is a to-do, etc. And we have our Bookmark Manager to actually open up and go and find those things. somebody's got dinner time. Enjoy. So we can then just double click and it takes us to the bookmark. Beyond the scope of this presentation, but something that hopefully I'll be mentioning in one of my last slides is that the code for the Bookmark Manager is actually unlocked. And in addition, we can plug in our own bookmark managers so that when we launch that, if we've got alternative bookmark managers, Labview actually gives us a choice and says, which one do you want to launch? That's given me some really interesting ideas where that can go. So being able to customize this window, but that's kind of above and beyond what we're going to talk about right now. So I've added a bookmark. There we go. There's our bookmark. Let's go ahead and close that. And let's go back to PowerPoint even. There's PowerPoint. So I'm going to skip that video because I just showed you the live demo. I had some videos lined up just in case internet was not playing well. So I've been using bookmarks for a while, really love them, but I started to have some questions like, what if we have favorite bookmarks? What if we want to use a previously used bookmark, either that's already used in that VI or maybe used within our project? What if we're a superstar team and have defined a set of or a list of approved bookmarks? So maybe we've defined that to do will be uppercase T, uppercase D with 2 lowercase O's. And we want to ensure consistency amongst that team so that people don't start getting a little bit creative and putting it all in uppercase, etc. So how do we have a list of approved bookmarks? And what if I want to add a bookmark to multiple VIs? Interesting. So I started to look at these questions. Well, if I want to add to multiple VIs, I also recognize that my workflow for going and opening the block diagram didn't work all the time. One of my use cases for adding a bookmark was if I had a, say for example, a JIRA ticket where I wanted to actually paste the URL in, but I needed to paste it into multiple VIs because there were multiple VIs that would be touched when making changes per that JIRA ticket, as an example. So what I did is I ignored Darren's presentation, naughty me, about project providers, and I built a bookmark project provider. It's accessed by right-clicking on a VI and going to this window here and saying add bookmark to this VI. When we click on this, it launches a little interactive wizard or a little interactive dialog, and it prompts us to start typing our new bookmark here. And there are also 4 pre-configured bookmarks. We can simply mouse over the string control and start typing directly in here. If we want to add one of the pre-configured bookmarks, we can absolutely do so. And then when we're happy, we can say create bookmark. If I open my window, we'll see there's my new bookmark that's been added. Notice it's different color. More on that later. So we've added a bookmark. Now, sometimes I don't always work with the project window open. With the project window and all my VIs open. I've typically got a number of VIs open, but rather than kind of have to hover over here and look for the VI I want, typically I know where it is in the project. So I could actually add that again, even though the VI is open. Let's go and add another note. So we've added another bookmark now to our VI. So that solved one of my problems. I don't want to have to open VIs if they're not open in order to add a bookmark. I can also add the same bookmark to multiple VIs that I've selected. So select multiple items, right click, add bookmarks to these VIs. And let's do the same thing again. Let's add to both. And let's put in a little comment, a little bookmark there, create, and now we can take a look at that. There's our bookmark that's been added to both. Okay, so that solved one of my problems. What if I want to add bookmarks to multiple VIs? Okay. Well, we also saw that there was some color to that bookmark. It was a different color to the standard free text label. Well, if we actually bring up that dialog again, and we notice down at the bottom, we've got an option called Preferences. If we select Preferences, that actually shows us this dialog that allows us to configure those predefined bookmarks that are associated with those buttons. So if I want to go ahead and change that, and let's change it to bug and save, you can see we can now add the predefined bookmark bug. We can also change the bookmark background color or the color of the text. I think we should have this, seeing as this is hosted by Jörg. I think I'm going to try and get HSE purple. There we go. It's an approximation, and we like colors in this user group. So there's our new background color, and I think we need white text for that. So this is our preferences dialog that allows us to configure those predefined bookmarks and define the background color and the text color. So let's save that, and let's go ahead and create our bookmark. And there we go. We've got our new HSE purple with white text bookmark added. Another little option that was there in the preferences was the enable bookmark suggester and list existing bookmarks in current project stroke VI. So if you remember when I said what happens if we've got favorite bookmarks, or what if we want to use previously used bookmarks, or if we're a super team who has an approved list? Well, in that case, when I actually start, so if I start typing, as soon as I hit the hash, this little window pops up, which is a little bit like your quick drop window, where if I type a letter, it filters the items in that list. But if I get rid of that filter to start with and just start with a hashtag, what that is currently showing me is bookmarks from 3 different sources. It's showing me bookmarks from the current project. It's showing me, or that are contained within the current project on any of the VIs. It's showing bookmarks that have been recently created using this tool that aren't in the list of predefined bookmarks. And it also shows me bookmarks from a list or from a file where favorite bookmarks are listed. So this allows me to define that to do will always be uppercase T, uppercase D, by having a list of preferred bookmarks, and that is one of the items that is included in this list. So I can just select using the cursor to the one I want and hit enter, and I get my bookmark added to this free text label that's about to be created. Notice that bug is obviously shown in a different color and bolded just to make it very clear that it's a bookmark. So we can disable the suggester or enable it, and by default it will list existing bookmarks in the current project and also any bookmarks that have been defined in the list of preferred bookmarks. I'll show you where you can do that a little bit later. So we can add our bookmark, and there we go. And obviously now when we have a look at View Bookmark Manager, we've got a lot more in there that we can see. So that's good. Now, often I've added a bookmark, but I actually want to change what it says. I want to edit it. What I decided to do in this case was use one of the things that Darren did say we were allowed to do, which is to create a right-click menu. So if we select an existing free text label and right-click, we can edit that bookmark. When we say edit, the text from our free text label is imported into this window, and now we can go ahead and make a change to it. So we've now changed it to Hample purple with white text and added some content to it. So we can right click on those and say edit bookmark and do do as we like with those. So being able to edit existing bookmarks was another important feature that I wanted to add. And then finally, if we've not got any bookmarks, we've not got anything on there, and I wanted to add a new bookmark or a new free text label containing bookmarks, and I want to be able to access my suggester so that I can look at what I've already used in my project. I can simply say Control Space, Control M, and that launches the dialog where I can simply start typing again and add my bookmark as per there. If I want to know how to use this tool, because I've now shown 3 different ways, we can do Control Space, Control M, we can right click to invoke this, and we can also do it from the project provider by right clicking on a VI in the project. If I want to know how to, let me just go ahead and let's add that. If I go to the help window and Bookmark Project Provider user guide, we get a user guide that takes us through each of those methods of invocation for the tool, but it also tells me where I need to put any preferred bookmarks, and it's simply a text file that allows me to comma separate out those bookmarks that I want to appear in the suggester window. Okay, there's also some links to some YouTube videos to show how to use the tool, show the tool in action. So we've gone through that super fast, but I hope I don't think it needed particularly longer to show the tool in action. Let's resume the slides for a second. There's the Bookmark Project Provider. I'm sure, I don't know, Jörg, what you normally do in terms of the slides, but I'll make the slides available. So where do I want to go with this next? Well, I'd like to replace that string control on the front panel. I'd like to replace that with a queue control just to help tidy up the block diagram a little bit and implement a couple of features in there that I think it will certainly make it easier. I'd also like to spell plugin correctly, but I'd like to go to a more plugin based architecture where you can choose where and what your predefined bookmarks come from. So for example, I'd like some of my predefined bookmarks to be JIRA tickets. So I've already started working on a plugin architecture where some of those bookmarks might actually be JIRA tickets, and I might configure it to pull JIRA tickets based on status, based on project, etc. So the shipping example, I see that being something that other users can develop their own plugins. So the shipping example will be JIRA. I appreciate not everybody's using JIRA, so you may want to build your own. That's the purposes of that feature. I'd also like to now tackle the Bookmark Manager itself. One great suggestion that I've had is to be able to do things such as find and replace bookmarks directly from the Bookmark Manager window and show derivatives. So again, I've started work on that and hope to have that included in the next version. So being able to highlight a bookmark and replace it with one of our preferred, maybe if somebody's been a bit creative on how they've formatted a bookmark. So I'd like to highlight derivatives of a preferred bookmark to say, look, do you want to change all instances of this to be this? But I'm also open to suggestions as well, so please keep them coming. I'm going to check the chat window in a second in case there are any questions. But I'd like to also make some thanks to a couple of people that have given me a lot of input and have beta tested this. So Darren Mather, Greg Payne, Paul Morris have all had their hands on this right from when it basically didn't run at all and was horrible. And everybody at the ALA for their feedback and sarcastic bug reports. Always nice in the middle of a pandemic to get some sarcastic bug reports. So big thanks up to those guys. So I'm going to jump across and have a look at the, oh, yeah. And this is public available. It is on the Labview Tools Network. It is free. It is unlocked and open, and will be going on GitHub soon. As soon as the next release has been approved by the Labview Tools Network, there's a couple of minor bugs fixed in the next release. It's been submitted to LVTN, and should be up there in the next day or two. So as soon as that's up there, the code will be going on GitHub in case you want to do something with it yourself, I guess. But yeah, it's already on the Labview Tools Network right now. So let me have a look at the chat window and see if this is where I look and there's not a single question.
So your presentation was so fine-tuned and well-honed that there were no questions left, I guess.
How do I determine the position of the bookmark on the block diagram? Absolutely, great question. So there's a couple of different things that are happening. So obviously, if I just escape out of this for a second, if there is existing code, and it doesn't matter what it is, so let's put some code down there. So if I pop something down there, yeah, I know it's broken. Create constant. There we go. So if I put something in there now, what that's going to do is it's actually going to put it slightly above and left aligned with the top leftmost item on my block diagram. I had to make a decision on where at this point in time. Maybe something that's configurable would be nice to make some options perhaps, but right now top left aligned with whatever is on the block diagram, unless it is invoked from quick drop and there is nothing on the block diagram. So if there's nothing on the block diagram, I'm gonna have to double check it. Oops, somebody's waiting in the lobby. Did we kick Tom out? I'd have to. I'm gonna have to defer Stefan, and basically if there's nothing there, it goes there. Otherwise, it's top left aligned. The window itself, this was a bug spotted by Greg. This dialog box opens. The idea being it opens next to the item that you've selected in your Labview project. Obviously, I've got a very, very empty project here, so it's not great to indicate this. But if I drag this thing down to the bottom of the window and do the same thing again, you'll see it's now aligned with the bottom left of that window so that this window doesn't disappear off screen if you've got a very large project with, you know, several hundred VIs in it. So, but right now, left aligned and above any existing code that you've got on the block diagram. So if we add another one there, we should get it. Yeah, there we go, above the existing item. Editing a comment. Interesting. Editing a comment. You mean like a?
I edited a comment. Hello. I edited a comment and it comes out very. My own comment and came out very, very strange in this meeting.
Interesting. Okay, so this is a comment.
Not your comment. Comment in Teams.
Oh.
I was gonna watch you and see how long it takes. Sorry, Chris.
Live debugging of Microsoft Teams.
Awesome.
Yeah, okay, editing. Brilliant. Okay. Was that, I think, brilliant. I think that was that it on the comment front. So if anybody's got any more suggestions, because I'm sure we're going to get locked down again in the UK, so there'll be some more dark evenings with me adding features. But suggested plugins, etc., might be a good one. Like I said, Jira is the obvious one because I'm forever opening a browser and copying and pasting URLs from Jira tickets onto my block diagram. So I'd like those to appear in the suggestion window as soon as I start typing hashtag. I'd like to have some kind of a multiple column view, or even have this view customizable for whatever plugins we've created. Anyway, that's my that's the tool that I've created. It plugs into Project Provider, right-click menus, and Quick Drop. So I think we hit all three there. So thank you very much, Jörg. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. One more question.
Yes.
Came up from Jesper. Are you considering listing VIA ignore separately for a custom bookmark manager? So
for a custom bookmark manager, so that's a good question. I hadn't specifically considered VI Analyzer Ignore, so that's a good suggestion right there. The one that I had in mind actually was effectively a bookmark manager that would just filter out the Jira items and show their status, etc. But yeah, that's a good, and the ability to find and replace bookmarks with approved ones. But no, that's a good suggestion. Yeah.
Great. Chris, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Again, it was extremely, I mean, I've known the tool before, but still it was very interesting. I think it was a very good story arc that you had there. I liked the presentation a lot. Thanks for taking the time to do that. And I can only invite everybody to, go have a look at it and give feedback to Chris. He's been very responsive. Truth be told, it's also funny to give some sarcastic bug reports like you said. So thank you for entertaining us. But anyhow, it was an awesome. How do you call that? Rounding the whole thing up with this very pragmatical, tangible thing here to go to. So no needs to dive into any scripting. You can just install that tool from the Labview Tools network. So maybe that is something more approachable, I guess.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you. No, thank you.